Welcome, everybody, to Lighting the World with Truth. At this season of joy and life and new life and other things, we are having a special program, and the title is, And There Are No Conditions. I wonder what that's about. My guest this morning is Kate, and I will have her introduce herself to all of you.
Okay. Well, my name is Kate Kirbie, and I am from South Bend, Indiana, originally. I went to school at St. Mary's College, got a degree in biology with an environmental concentration, and then did a volunteer year as a Dominican volunteer in Racine, Wisconsin at the Eco Justice Center. So the Eco Justice Center is an environmental education site and a full-functioning farm. And I help with the animals and programs, grant writing, and website management and everything there. So I did that for a year, and then I got hired on as the assistant to the director. And I know Lois through Dominican Volunteers and knowing a few other sisters.
Okay. Well, welcome, Kate. We are so glad to have you with us. Well, let's start out with our question, and that will give the audience and my viewers what we're talking about. What is love? Kate, what would you come out with that?
Well, there's a lot of different types of love. That, of course, there's what we initially think of as romantic love between two people, but then also love between family members, siblings, a parent-child relationship, love between people that you live with or work with, and then like a divine power, a love from a higher being or God as well. So that's kind of the different classifications. Mm-hmm. But when I was thinking about this, I think love overall is this yearning to care for someone else and to understand their background, so that if there's a situation that comes up where you get frustrated with somebody, or you almost want to say that you hate them, that you look into their background to try and understand why they're doing it the way they are, and to just treat the person as a human being and in a caring way.
Okay, that's a pretty big definition, isn't it? There's a lot in there. One thing, though, when you were talking, you said there's a kind of romantic love. What does romantic love mean to you? You're a young person, and I'm sure our listeners would be, and viewers would be interested in hearing your answer.
Well, I think romantic love is just adds to the friendship love. That there's still everything is strengthened. That there is this yearning to accept them for who they are. That I don't think you can truly love somebody in a romantic relationship until you accept them and you're wanting to learn about their background so that you can love them more. But then there's also the chemistry involved in it as well that's not as prominent in other relationships. So kind of the combination of the two allows for that one special relationship.
So, would you say that the intimacy is part of this? Well,
Well, it kind of comes with chemistry, but I think that we initially think of intimacy as a physical intimacy, which is very much present in a romantic relationship, but also, I guess you could say a mental intimacy. Between I think sharing intimate moments of sharing deep thoughts and wanting to spend special moments together, that it's an intimacy that I don't think people usually think of that's very important in a relationship. But oftentimes people will jump to the conclusion that sex needs to be a part of a romantic relationship. And I think that a lot of people think of that as just another step in the relationship, that you just kind of climb the physical relationship steps, and it's kind of sad to think of something that is so strong, something that can create a person, as just another step in the relationship.
Yeah, and especially, when you mention the sexual love, I mean, there's always that danger, and I have to use the word of using someone, just to satisfy your own, emotions and your own desires or whatever, and that's not what this is about.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not what intimacy is about, is it?
It really needs to be a mutual understanding with each other.
Yes, and love for each other, no? I mean, respect and all
Exactly.
that. Okay, now, so I did start the program saying this is the season of joy and love, and it brings us to God's love. And so why don't you talk what God's love means to you? And what is God's love? I mean, I know it's a heavy question, but...
We'll try and sum it up. I think God's love is the utmost definition of love. That unconditional love is, you could say, almost impossible for a human to have no boundaries on the way that you love someone. So I think of God's love as being always present, and God is continuing to look at your background and wanting to accept you for all that you are. Something that we try to do as people, but can be very, very difficult, of course.
Yes.
So I think of God's love as just unconditional, and when we ask the question of can God forgive us for different things, I think that forgiveness is more of something for ourselves, because God is always loving, and people will come to forgiveness in themselves in different ways. Sometimes through prayer, or through talking it out, through thinking about a decision that they made that they're wanting forgiveness for.
Yeah, I mean, that conditional love, like I said, the title, as I said when we began, and there are no conditions, God, there are no conditions, and that's for love. God just loves everyone, and I think that's such a profound, but it's a very important belief that we have to have, especially today, in today's world of such turmoil and agony and hate and all this kind of thing. God doesn't change no matter what. So
it's rather amazing that not only God loves one person unconditionally, but loves everyone in the world.
Everyone. We can't, our poor little brain can't fathom loving the whole world. However many people it is, we don't even know, do we? But what a marvelous, what a beautiful thing it is, Now, that brings us then to this very, very difficult question. You did talk a little bit. You mentioned, must we love those who harm us, who don't get along with us, and must we love our enemies, or what?
Yeah. I know. Some people may understand that there are enemies in their lives, or even just more simply people they don't get along with, or people we have different views from, and it can be very difficult to love them. But I think that to have a peaceful world, you have to strive for that, and you might not necessarily want to be around that person often, and you might make decisions in your life for that, but wanting the best for someone and wanting looking into their background of why they're doing what they're doing that you may not like is the only way that we can have a better earth and a better community.
Yeah, and you mentioned that just willing the best for you. That's it. Or however, you said Thomas Aquinas's definition. I always use this with the inmates. Is willing the good of another. That's Thomas's short definition of love, and that willing the good. You don't have to go up and hug them and hang around with them all the time and come be with them. That's not what this is, and that's a very difficult concept. And boy, the world needs this so much, And now we have the coming of Jesus, the whole this magnificent demonstration, or whatever you want to call it, of God's love, to give us God's Son. Who would ever do that, you know?
Right, someone to guide us
Yeah.
and to be more like us so that we can understand God's love.
And give God's Son to us just like any little baby, you know, and then watch this love grow. It's you just have to stand in awe, don't you? I mean, this love is so. Kate, is there anything else you would like to say that?
I guess just from what you said there, that I hope that people are able to contemplate what love is for them, because it could be very different from my own definition, but that's just a guiding,
Yes.
Guiding words. So especially during the Christmas season, to think about what love is to each person and the different kinds of love and the eternal love, the love from God as well.
Yes.
And just to take some time to look into that.
Exactly. And so, my dear viewers, I wish you all this season love, and I hope that you will love everyone like God loves us, because after all, it's the only thing. That's the only thing we have, and in fact, in heaven, that's the only thing we will have is love. That's how great it is. And so, I wish all of you a blessed and loving Christmas. And remember, once you know the truth, you are responsible for it. A blessed Christmas.